Good afternoon. I want to thank everybody who joins us. My name is Hola Atamanova, and it's my pleasure to see all of you here in Ukraine Media Center Ukrinform. Today is day 538 of the full-scale invasion of our homeland by Russian aggressor, and unfortunately our country was hit by another massive strike that we will discuss right now. Joining us online is Yuriy Ignat, the spokesperson of the Air Force Command of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Good afternoon, Mr. Yuriy. Good afternoon, Mr. Yuriy. Many have called this morning's strike the most massive strike of the western regions of our country since the beginning of the full-scale invasion. Can we say it's true? And what is the situation for the time being? Well, I wouldn't say so. You know, first of all, it's done to draw a lot of media attention with the headlines. Well, I was facing this situation multiple times. It's just another strike, 28 missiles for X-22, which hit the Donetsk region, and then another 24 missiles launched from air and sea surface for calibers, and the rest X-222 and 555. That's yet another terroristic attack by the Russians. 16 missiles were downed. You've seen probably the addresses of the heads of the local military administrations. I wouldn't call it the most massive strike because we were experiencing more complicated strikes with consequences way worse. You remember recently there were earlier strikes on Lviv, missile strikes, so it's just another Russian attack on our cities. Different regions were hit. The missiles were downed in Dnipro. 7 of them were downed in Dnipro region. The rest were downed on the route. So the air defense forces destroyed 16 out of 24 missiles that can be downed with the regular air defense systems. However, X-22, the 4 missiles that hit the Donetsk region, they are available for downing with such systems as Patriot that are capable of shooting down ballistic missiles, because X-22, we've been discussing it a number of times, goes along the ballistic trajectory and is a hypersonic missile. Mr. Yuriy, can we say that, for example, 2 weeks ago we were saying that mostly our port infrastructure is under threat? Can we say now that currently the enemy aims our airfields? Well, you know, airfields are always under threat. Obviously, our pilots inflict strikes on the occupiers. You see the results of their combat operations on a daily basis. Well, we can see it even in the Russian publics. The occupiers themselves write about it. So it's no secret to anybody that the pilots do their job under conditions of constant fire by the enemy. They have their safeties to use the aircraft in a literate manner to preserve the life and of people and the material, but at the same time to inflict the painful strikes in the rear of the enemy, logistics of the enemy, and command posts of the enemy. Those are the very important things to hit the enemy from its rear, the occupied territories. So the critical infrastructure, the industrial facilities, port infrastructure are the targets of the enemy. They will be the priority targets for them. So we cannot segregate that today they hit the airfields, for example. Today we see the residential buildings were attacked as well. We have to sort out whether that was a debris or that was a direct strike, so the local administrations will be able to provide more detail on the situation. I would like to ask you about the situation in the front lines. What is it for the time being? Well, today I would say the aviation activity has started from the night, maybe before the missile strike, because at 4 o'clock there was a lot of aviation about several dozens air targets in the occupied territories and in the south, in the Bryansk, Kursk regions of Russian Federation and in the equators of both seas. The enemy continues right now. I'm telling you right now, not less than this night, about 20 aircraft are in the air, both unmanned aerial vehicles and fixed and rotary wing that we can observe in our radars. On top of that, they use the assault aviation Su-25, Ka-52 rotary wing aircraft because they can be invisible since they fly on the low altitude in order not to be visible for the radars. So the presence of the enemy in the air is huge, and what should we do about it? Everybody knows what should we do. We need F-16 to reduce this air activity of the enemy. Mr. Yuriy, maybe the last question. Soon we are about to celebrate the Day of Independence of our country, a significant day for us. What should we expect on that day? Well, you know, on this day we shouldn't expect for anything, but we should rather understand for ourselves. We should draw conclusions. Everybody draws those conclusions, like to what extent they are Ukrainians and how important it is for us to get this independence, something that we fight for with sweat and blood, the blood of our defenders that bring our victory closer. We should thank those people who pay the most precious they have, their lives, for our independence, and the air forces will continue doing their job, because for them, whether it's Independence Day or any other day, you know, we have a lot of beautiful dates on the calendar, and enemy has a lot of reasons to target us on those days. But you know, today it's no holiday, but still there were attacks just like yesterday. Yesterday we've worked 100%, we've downed 100% of enemy targets. Today it's less. It happens because enemy continues attacking us from different directions with different means, with different weapons. So let's hold the line. Thank you. And we want to thank our armed forces for defending us and for opportunity to hold events like this. Thank you for joining our broadcast, dear colleagues. I'm reminding you, joining us was Yuriy Ignat, the spokesperson of the Air Defense Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. And at 1300 we will have an event during which we will discuss our cultural heritage. We will discuss how Russia is destroying this cultural heritage and what should we do about it. At 1430 we will talk about the situation in Kherson region in general, so stay tuned. Let's work together for our victory, and glory to Ukraine.